If you need an update on the good, the bad, and the ugly at City Council here in Albuquerque, well, you're in luck because this week's meeting was wild. So let's start with the good. The Rental Unit Habitability Enforcement Ordinance, try to say that 5 times fast. Anyway, it passed this week. This is actually a pretty big win that focuses on bad actors. So the about 150 properties with 3+ violations who cause 40% of those problems that exist in code enforcement, now they actually have to address major health and safety issues immediately and cover alternate housing costs during a major repair. This has real teeth. So there's $500 fines, daily penalties. It also requires annual reports with maps so that like any of us in the community can see where violations are like clustering. And there are payment plans, waivers, and extension options for small and low income property owners. So keeps it fair. I just want to say thanks to District 7 Councilor Feeblecorn for staying on this. This is something she's been working on for a few months. And yeah, thanks to her co-sponsors and community advocates who pushed this council to address rising housing costs and greedy landlords. They all kind of set the stage for this change. Another good thing, it was a packed meeting. There were a ton of people from several community groups, community advocates, everyday people from multiple districts, and there was a lot of support for raising the minimum wage, which leads us to the bad. I don't really like saying it out loud, but the minimum wage ordinance did pass. However, it kind of got chopped and hacked. There were dozens of amendments, and council eventually landed on phasing in a wage, $15 minimum wage over 3 years. So $13 in 2027, $14 in 2028, $15 in 2029. It also either reduced the tipped wage or kept it the same, kind of depending on who you ask. I would just say that, to me, this feels like a small but hard-earned win. So props to community members for showing up. But yeah, unless, housing costs go down and corporations start magically paying more, better wages, I'm not sure it's going to make a huge difference for people's, weekly and monthly budgets. Also bad, the council agenda had 17 items for final action and another 20 plus on the consent agenda, which is way more than anyone could get through in a meeting. And so predictably, this one went till 1 or after 1 a.m. This is kind of a pattern with the Vice President Dan Champagne from District 8 and the Council President Clarissa Pena from District 3. Council leadership sets the overall tone and structure for each meeting, and so this is them just kind of packing it in. I don't know the reasons for that, but it's pretty clear. I thought the minimum wage or argument was also a good example of the chaos that this council has sort of sunk into, because there were several amendments that just changed the entire bill that were withdrawn. At one point, it looks like they're going to change the title and have to defer it to the next meeting. None of it appeared planned, discussed, or presented to the public at all. And for a solid hour, it was like some kind of fist fight where you saw these big changes back and forth. No one from the public had seen any of this before. And I just don't think it's a good way to do the people's business. That leads us to the ugly. Yeah, you want the chisme, the gossip. I got you. I'm going to be transparent, just say I have said and continue to say in public comment that there's a lack of council leadership, and I believe last night just showed that some more. The president kicked 2 people out of the meeting, including having 5 armed police officers drag one individual out after they went over their time, even though other people went over their time and nothing happened to them. So interestingly, that last part happened as the person was reading out loud an email from District 5 Councilor Dan Lewis to Steve Grant from the New Mexico Apartment Association of New Mexico. And I quote Dan Lewis here. He said, "Would you make a list of the specific lines in the bill that you would delete out? I realize you would want to delete the entire bill, but this is one strategy that I can use to kill it. Just make a list of the specific lines you would like to delete or change and send to just me." I don't think it's a secret that Councilor Lewis gives extra time and energy to our city's most moneyed interests, but if they're literally writing legislation for the council, which is what it looks like, that seems like there's even more reason for real leadership. Like, let me give you an example: requiring publishing amendments ahead of time and disclosure of who was involved in actually writing a bill or an amendment. Okay, that's all for now. Drop your questions, comments, etc. in the replies. See you next time.